All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to SUNY ESF. My name is Laura Crandall, and I'm the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership. And I am here with some really wonderful colleagues at ESF who are here to talk to families of incoming students. If you're tuning in and you're not a family member, that's totally okay. We'll still be here to answer your questions. So to start, I'm going to introduce Sue Sanford, who is the Director of Undergraduate Admissions, who is going to introduce herself and talk about her role here at ESF.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I guess my job title kind of gives away what it is that we're about, but it's more than just admitting you to ESF. It's those great relationships that we've built over the many months and sometimes years as we've recruited you. And congratulations on being admitted to ESF. This is a wonderful place to learn and live. And many of us that you're hearing from tonight have taken that to heart, and we've been here a long time simply because the students here are so remarkable and such wonderful people to work with. So you've gotten over the big hurdle, which is to be admitted, but there are a few additional steps, last steps that you have to complete to become an official ESF student, and for us then to turn your records over to the registrar, where you will have all of your activities monitored for the next few years. If you think that you've paid your admissions deposit, that is a wonderful thing, because that's the signal to ESF that you will be planning to join us this fall. However, it's a two-step process, so I just want everybody to think about if they accepted their offer of admission, but they then didn't pay a deposit or have a waiver of the deposit approved, then there's one more step for us to know that you're truly going to be a part of our entering class. So if you don't remember doing either of those things, please log back into your applicant portal and finish those steps to finalize your admission to the college. We also need to, we're the office that's responsible for pulling in all of your academic records from every institution you've attended prior to coming to ESF. And that means even for transfer students, as well as first-year students, we need to have an official copy of your high school transcript with the graduation date. So that's got to come directly from your high school to ESF, and it has to have either this year's or prior year's graduation date. If for some reason you find difficulty in having that document get to us, maybe your high school closed and the record is now part of the state education department, please just email us and we can help you navigate how to get around some of the difficult steps to get a high school transcript, especially if it's from some time ago. We also need to see all of your college level coursework transcripts or score reports. And when I say all, I mean all. If perhaps you did not tell us about a college you attended, but felt perhaps that your coursework there wasn't going to transfer to ESF, so you didn't feel it was necessary to send the transcript, or if maybe you didn't have as a successful academic life at another institution and you didn't think that really had any bearing on your admission, at this point, nothing's going to change it. You're admitted. We are fairly excited to welcome you in the fall. But we do have to have all of your academic records. So make sure that you have every college you have attended. Send a transcript. Again, it has to be official, sent from that institution's registrar to the ESF admissions office. And all of those things need to be to us by August 1st to make sure that we have them added to your record, so that the next person you hear from, Beth Minard, will be able to finalize your class schedule for the fall. There are odd things that will be happening in terms of some college transfer credit, in that if you've taken AP exams up through this year's administration of the AP and requested ESF to get those records, we should have them. They came in electronically last week. If you didn't indicate that ESF was a recipient of your scores, then you need to go back into the College Board website and have those scores requested. Same would be true for the IB scores as well. Again, that's part of your academic history. It all has to be a part of your record at ESF. And then it gives us the opportunity to maximize the transfer credit you can bring in to the college. Once you're enrolled at ESF, you're still going to have perhaps some contact with our office, especially if you take coursework at another institution while you're enrolled at ESF. Again, all transfer credit comes through the admissions office. Our office is where you would submit your summer school course transcripts, or if you did a field experience somewhere else, then you can have those transcripts sent to us as well. Some of you will, at the point of your sophomore year, or maybe for some students a junior year, you may consider wanting to move from the Syracuse campus to the Ranger School campus to complete the associate degree, and then hopefully return to Syracuse campus to complete your bachelor's degree. And we're also the office that assists students understanding how their programs will mesh between the two campuses. So we actually could be part of your lives for several more years to come, and we really appreciate doing that. And it's always fun to keep in touch with everybody that we have recruited to the college. But that's basically our role and how you'll interact with us at the beginning of the semester. What I should emphasize is that we are completely virtual, and we will be completely virtual through the beginning of school. So if you have any transfer credit questions, or you're considering changing your program of study, we really need you to have that those pieces of information to us by the 1st of August, again, so that we can make sure your record is ready to roll when you arrive here at the end of the month. If it's not here by the end of, by the 1st of August, you're either a change of program request or final transcripts, that could hamper the smooth arrival at ESF in terms of getting yourself into classes and being registered and having an appropriate academic advisor assigned to you. So August 1, that's the big date. Put it on your calendars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue, for your helpful information. I do see a couple of comments in the chat box. Is there a way to confirm that transcripts have been received?
Everything about our information systems right now is a bit of a challenge. We're in the process of moving from a homegrown system to a commercial product, and we've been going live on that and have planned to go live on it through the whole year. Right now, there isn't a way for you to check. So it's just a matter, if you have any question about whether your transcripts have been received, just email the admissions office and we can email you right back or call you just to confirm whatever concerns or questions you have about your record.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's the bulk of the question. There is some information, questions about college credits, and if we don't want them to transfer, even if we did well on them, like Bio 1 and Bio 2. What would you advise on that process?
Oh boy, we have to give you the credit for it, because if you have taken it either through AP or at another college, again, it really comes down to if you're getting federal financial aid. Federal financial aid requires that we verify all coursework that you've taken and none of it's been repeated. So if you're receiving federal financial aid, you have to accept the transfer credit. You will not be able to take a course at ESF that you've already met the requirement for elsewhere. I'm going to defer a little bit to Beth if I've got that right. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. So my name is Beth Minard. I'm the Associate Registrar. And to follow up on that, so there are a lot of federal financial aid rules that we have to follow. In terms of students have to have 12 credit hours at least applying to their degree each semester. Some students will repeat courses, especially if they took advanced placement in high school and they want to take general biology. The first thing you need to do is talk to your advisor about that, because some students may not need to do that, right? You may be able to just take the credit and move on. So the first thing is to talk to your advisor. The second thing is to talk to the financial aid office and make sure that you're going to have enough other credits that are applicable to your degree that would keep you in compliance with financial aid. And if you're not getting financial aid, then you're free to repeat courses as you need to, as you want to, as you work through with your advisor, would be my advice on that.
Great, thank you. You can keep the questions coming in the chat box, but I am going to officially turn it over to Beth Minard, who is our Associate Registrar at ESF.
Great, thanks, Laura. So as Sue said, we're in the process of switching systems. We're actually implementing 2 right now at the same time. And one of them is a new student information system. The other one is a new degree audit system. So sometime during the fall semester, you will actually be getting a new curriculum plan sheet, replacing the current ones. Our job is to make sure that you're registered for the class that you need to be registered for. And we're going to be working on that over the next couple of weeks so that you have a schedule when you arrive here for orientation. And then during orientation, after you have the academic session with your either curriculum coordinator and or your advisor, depending on who's available at the time, you will finalize your schedule. So we'll put you in the classes you need to be in based on your transfer credits that Sue already talked about. And then you can make schedule adjustments during that orientation time. ESF is a little bit different, especially if you're coming in as a transfer student. You're used to probably using one system, but we have 2 for registration. We have registration through Syracuse University's MySlice system, and then you have your ESF. It's going to be Banner, but it'll be self-service for students. And on that system, that's where you're going to pay your bill. You'll see your financial aid. You'll see your audit sheet. You'll be able to change your address, do all that stuff that you need to do in your self-service. You do have 2 systems. They're both fairly easy to learn, but you have to keep that in mind. So we are in the process of putting your schedules together. As you know, with the change in how classes are being offered, we are in the process of kind of redoing the whole schedule. And we're trying to get that information out and available as soon as possible to all of you. But please be patient as we work through this massive change, not only in the schedule, but also changes to our current systems. It's been a little bit challenging, but we're working through it, and we're going to get you guys here and ready to go and off to a great start with the semester. A couple other things just to keep in mind during orientation. Normally I would be in front of you personally. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that this year, but we're going to have, Laura is putting together a great website for you guys. I have my PowerPoint up there, and I actually figured out how to do audio on the PowerPoint, so it walks you all the way through what you need. All of our handouts are going to be available on that website, so you'll still get all the information you need. Unfortunately, we just won't be able to do it face-to-face like we normally do, like we love to do, and to welcome you personally. But we're excited to have you guys coming to campus, and we're ready to work with you. As Sue said, we're going to limit traffic in our office for your safety as well as ours. And so we do encourage students to use our email address, which is registrar@esf.edu. All of our forms are available online, or will be by the time you arrive. All of our petition forms, the registration form, everything that you need is going to be available in a fillable PDF so that you can do that. We also have them available outside our office if you still want to use the paper version, but everything is going to be up online and ready to go for you guys when you get here in just a matter of a few short weeks, really. I think that's pretty much all I had. Unless there's any questions, I'll turn it over to David, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Yes, there's actually just a few.
Okay.
Is there a max number of credits we can transfer into?
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there for a second.
Sorry, is there a max number of credits we, meaning new students, can transfer into?
So, yeah, that's a good question. Most students don't even come close to maxing out on the number of transfer credits. And Sue's office does a great job of evaluating the credits. They have been given great flexibility by the faculty because they have a lot of confidence in their ability to give you as many credits as possible. There are some times, though, where if you wanted to transfer in, let's say you're in one of the biology majors and you want to transfer in a directed elective, that's something that you have to talk to your advisor about and have to submit a petition for. Most students don't even come close to having a problem transferring in the number of credits they have available to actually transfer.
Okay, great, thank you. The next one is, I am getting concerned regarding the bill generated. We applied for a parent student loan and have not heard anything. Would anyone know the answer to that one?
David, you want to take that, or you want me to?
don't know anything there.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got off a Zoom with the Ranger School students, and it was clarified by Mr. Mark Hill, our Director of Financial Aid, that the bills will be released around August 15th, and the due date will be around September 15th. If that was a question of just what's the bill timing, that's what I know of today.
Okay, and that seems like it could relate to on Banner that they're not authorized to view financial aid information, or that's from a returning student. So I'm not sure if that's a different problem or if it's related to the transition from the portals.
It could be related to the transition. It could be when they looked. Depending on when you looked, if you happen to try the portal yesterday or today, it crashed. We had some issues over the weekend. They're working on resolving it. I would say if you're concerned about that, certainly contact the financial aid office, shoot them an email. They'll get right back to you on that.
Okay, great. There is one more that might be specific, but I'll read it anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Turn it over. This year's AP score is not so predictable. Got an AP score of 3, but ESF only takes 4. We are filling an appeal to regrade with College Board, but College Board will not regrade it unless the score is 2 or 1, even if there are errors in the grade. Is any change in terms of minimal AP scores going to happen, I assume, is the question.
So it depends on the test, because there are certain tests where we actually do accept a 3 or higher. The 4 or higher applies to math and science. So unfortunately, there is not any adjustment that I'm aware of that's going to happen with that. So if you did get a 4 on the math or the science, then unfortunately that won't transfer. But if you have received a 3 on the English or any of the histories or the general educations, then that would transfer.
Okay, and if they have further questions, they could email registrar@esf.edu.
For new students right now, for AP questions, those should go to admissions. If admissions can't help them, then once they get here, they can talk with their advisor about that.
Thank you. Okay, we'll turn it over to Dr. Newman, who is our interim provost. Dr. Newman, can you introduce yourself and updates that you want to share?
Sure. Good evening. My name is David Newman. I'm the interim provost and vice president for academic affairs. What that means is I'm responsible for all the academic programs on the campus. And so what we've been doing this summer is trying to get ready for how we will be delivering our programs in the fall. We made a conscious effort that we would be a residential program this summer. And basically the types of classes that we will be offering will be of 3 basic modalities or modes of teaching. There will be traditional face-to-face courses, primarily for skills courses like labs, field labs, chemistry labs, things such as that. There will be pure online courses or parts of courses in which primarily large lecture classes. And this was necessitated because we have strong concerns for safety, and the guidelines that we have are that seating we will maintain safe distancing of six feet. And so that greatly reduced the size of our classrooms in terms of their capacity to hold students. So one example, one of our larger lecture halls, which holds about 130 students, with social distancing will only hold 29 students, which meant that we could no longer really hold large lecture classes. And so those will be done completely online. The last thing, and the most common method of teaching that we'll be having, we're calling a hybrid flex. And this can take a variety of forms. One would be that where the professor is lecturing online, but then would have recitations that would be face-to-face. Another type of modality would be where half the class would attend the lecture and the other half would be observing it online, and then they would switch on the next class period. And so these are challenging because we've never really done this before, but we're having to deal with what we're calling the new normal and trying to meet the needs of students. Now, one of the things that we're looking at and we will be announcing later this week or early next week, but probably later this week, is I know a number of students and parents are concerned about whether their child should come, whether their student should come to campus and participate in campus. We're going to allow, if a student can work it, because not all of our courses are going to be online. A large number of courses are going to be in person, face-to-face. If a student can organize their programs such that all their courses could be online, we will set that up, allow students to be fully online students. This is new for us. We've never done this before. And so a lot of things that are almost happening on the fly as Beth is working to understand the banner system, we're throwing this on top of her as well. But we feel we've had a lot of concern expressed by parents and students about coming back to campus. We want people to feel comfortable with their choices. And so we're going to be making that available. Again, we're still hammering out the final details, and we hope to have this ready to go, information being sent out to all families and students on this, hopefully Friday, but it may not be till Monday. What does that mean for you? That there's some choices that you can make with regards to how you would take part in your courses. We would hope and we think that there's good reason for students to want to come onto campus, but these are personal choices. So those are the things that we're doing right now. Like I say, of those three types of modalities, it's close to a third between face-to-face, online only, and this hybrid flex. And you know, we're learning about it, and we think it will be pretty successful for our students. And that's really the information I have right now. I'll be happy to try and answer whatever questions you have, because these are challenging decisions for both students and their families, and as our faculty are working through the decisions about how to put our courses together. For incoming freshman students, the challenge is going to be, you know, we generally require freshman students to live in the dorms unless they live within commuting distance. But this year, because we're making this as an online availability, it will be possible for freshmen to not live in the dorm. But there are going to be some challenges with that, because the labs associated with two of the most popular courses on campus are introductory biology courses and our introductory chemistry courses. Both of those are going to be using in-person laboratories. So there will be some challenge there. You know, we were trying to make sure that freshman students would have face-to-face experiences, but the choices will be for them. So that's all I got for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Newman. I saw a question come up, and it was, will fully online lectures be recorded?
Probably. A lot of this will be done live streamed, so that students will be they can organize their time based on when courses are offered. But my presumption is that for most of those courses, we work through a course management system called Blackboard, and that the lectures would be posted online as well.
Okay, thank you. And then kind of a little bit of a similar one, but will fully online lectures be for new students or only for returning students?
Will be for all students. If it's an online course, it will be who's ever in that course.
Okay, let's see. If my student's entire schedule is online and they opt out of staying on campus with, will he be able to keep his housing in the spring semester?
Yes, the plan right now is that we would be requiring students, again, we don't know what the future looks like. Our expectation is that in the spring semester, we would hope that we would be able to have all students on campus. And so the expectation is that yes, you would have housing in the spring.
Okay. And then another one came in. What if they only have one class per week or every other week that might be in-person instruction?
That's the challenge. That shouldn't happen very often. There should be usually at least a couple courses that would be face-to-face in a week, but there will be a substantial amount of online learning that will have to be done. Again, this is not the way we like to do it, but this is the world we're facing right now.
Okay, and then another one for probably a couple of you, but when will first-year students know their schedules to figure out modality?
Now okay, so like I say, we'll be sending out some messaging about this. As Beth said, we don't even have the freshmen scheduled yet. And so what you can do is if you go to your program's website and look at the program of study, you would see the likely courses that you would be taking in fall semester of your freshman year. And like I said, biology, the lecture is going to be online, but the labs are going to be face-to-face. Chemistry, the lectures are online, but the labs are face-to-face. Most of the math courses, there may be one or two of the calculus courses and pre-calculus courses that are going to be face-to-face, but most of those are going to be online. For the writing courses, most of those are going to be online. And so this is what we need to know from students, whether they're planning to be totally online, in which case they wouldn't be in those labs. And so our plan is that this Friday, we will be posting not the schedule of courses, but the listing of all our courses and what the modality for that course, each of those courses will be. And so a student can look at that list, look at the courses that are likely going to be on their schedule, and have a good idea whether or not it's going to be face-to-face or online.
And then to just follow up on that, the schedules will be available for students to see and make changes to during orientation week. And then I do believe students will have to take those labs in the future. So they're not exempted from them. They'll just delay them till next fall.
One of the things that is different, because we may have some returning students here, is that we will be allowing students from August 3rd through August 14th the opportunity to adjust their schedule. Now, we strongly encourage, if a student is going to adjust their schedule, that they contact their advisor about this, because adjusting the schedule and taking courses out of sequence can affect your ability to graduate in 4 years.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's flexibility too. I do see a question about when is orientation week, so that's me. Orientation is, as we had talked about, is on Blackboard. We have about 10 modules on there, and we will launch on August 1st. the students will log in with their SU NetID credentials, so the same login credentials that they would use on MySlice or to check their SU mail or SU email. We will have some live sessions, like their advising session where they would make schedule adjustments. And then we're doing a welcome session right before classes start around Friday, August 21st. And we'll have a session called There's More to My Story, which is hosted by the Office of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity, as well as an Inclusive Excellence welcome reception. So all of those will be live, virtual, because we can't have that many people gather in our spaces. And then we're working with our orientation leaders to do some small group sessions as well. So we will have a variety of sessions, but we're kind of working on when those will be for the orientation leader sessions, because I know a lot of people will be moving in throughout the week and a half or so of move-in. So we'll have more information about those specifics, but orientation will be more of like a flex hybrid as well. Some asynchronous and some synchronous or live sessions and some pre-recorded sessions.
And Laura, just to follow up too on that question. So for new students, the actual schedule adjustments and viewing their schedule and all that will start really the week of August 17th.
Yep, and that will include transfer student schedules as well. They will be available that week with schedule adjustments, because that question just came up too. Yes. So keep your questions coming. I do want to make a plug that next session for families, because these are family information sessions, will be next Tuesday is on housing and meal plans. So we'll have Kim Max, our community manager, who's been responding in our chat box as well, be on the air in our Zoom, as well as James Zabola from the Trailhead Cafe and SU Food Services nutritionist who can talk about dining halls, Ruth Sullivan as well. And then myself, Dean Lombard, and some others will tune in. So that's next Tuesday for, again, family info sessions. This Thursday on Instagram on at SUNY.ESF is our next round of Instagram live sessions for our new students, our new undergrad and new transfers. So we have a variety of platforms. We're trying to cater to the interest of the audience. So, we're hoping this works for people, and we're recording them so that you can air them or watch them at your own discretion. I want to introduce Dean Ann Lombard as well. She's in our Zoom here today. If you can introduce yourself, your role, that would be wonderful.
Thanks so much, Laura. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Ann Lombard, and it's my privilege to serve as the Vice Provost and Dean for Student Affairs. And what that means is that I have the wonderful opportunity to work with a stellar group of people who provide many of the out-of-classroom programs and services and resources that are available to our students. Everything from Laura and her team in student involvement and leadership, to our counseling services, our academic support services, career services, athletics, and many other things. So I'm here and happy to answer any questions or concerns related to the out-of-classroom experience, and we appreciate you tuning in tonight.
Thank you so much. I do see some more questions coming in, so just to read them. My son's move-in date is August 15th, so he won't have a schedule by then.
No, students will be able to see their schedules once they get here starting the week of the 17th. They need to be advised first before they can make any schedule changes. So I know it's a little frustrating, but we just ask for everybody's patience, because we've got to get everything ready and work with the departments and get the schedule changed and then get everyone registered. So the schedule will be available once everybody gets here and they're starting kind of the official orientation, even though a lot of it, unfortunately, is going to be virtual, that week of the 17th.
Thank you. Another question that's probably more directed at me, but I want to read it, is for orientation, will there be content of some sort about infection control and staying safe? We are working on some of that content to be in our Blackboard course. we are working on it with our health and safety officer, our dean. We will have probably even more protocol and guidance, I'm assuming. So it is on our radar to talk about and to probably do that more often. I don't know if anyone has more insight on that before I move to the next question.
We'll definitely continue to provide information with our students. We're finalizing what we're calling the college commitment about the expectations that we have for our community in terms of staying safe. And so we'll communicate in writing, and we'll also have a session, a module during as part of our orientation program.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another question is a little bit about orientation in small groups and what will it look like when they move in? Once they move in, will they just figure it out on their own, or how will orientation leaders and RAs be involved? And I know that we continue to work on that, and we're having more meetings to just learn about that. I don't know if anyone else had any insights of what we are going to do. I know that Kim Max, again, our community manager, is also commented that we're working on that, and that orientation leaders and RAs will be available. But yes, things will look a little bit different. We do a lot of in-person activities and quad games and stuff, and a lot of that will have to be, unfortunately, different, a lot less social and togetherness, a lot more social distancing. Another question, which is a curiosity question, but how is enrollment?
Go for it, Sue.
We're actually very surprised that we've got such a strong class coming in. Of course, all colleges in the country substantially lowered their targets. Application rates went down with the disease coming on, particularly for transfer students. But our enrollment for this fall for new students is in line with the last couple of years. That's going to be about probably 540 new students, somewhere in that range, for both first year and transfers. Right now it's at about 200 transfers, and the rest are first years.
Awesome, that's good to hear. Another question, probably for Beth maybe, is how many times a week are labs for biology and chemistry?
They usually meet once a week. I haven't seen the final schedule. I don't think that's changing. Is that, David? I think they're still once a week per lab.
We're adding a few more labs on because we're having to make the labs a little bit smaller. But students have one lab a week for both chemistry and one lab for biology.
And then the same for transfers with genetics, ecology. Those all have labs as well, and those meet once a week.
So, you've already seen, our original start date for the semester was going to be August 31st. Very early on, Syracuse University made a decision to change their start date to August 24th, and we joined them in that. And so the semester will begin August 24th and will end in terms of classwork on November 24th. Is it 24th or 22nd? 24th. And one of the things that we will be having to do in order to meet our hours requirements for the credits for the course is there will be one Saturday and 2 Sundays in which courses will also be done. Plus we will have courses on classes on Labor Day. So following the end of class, then reading week will take place the week after Thanksgiving, and then finals will take place online and be over by December 9th. So we're ending the semester a week early. Hopefully that gives us a greater likelihood of being able to finish the semester on campus. And that's the expectation.
And we have put all those dates up on the academic calendar. So if you want to see those, you can go right to the registrar's webpage. The only date that's not there yet is the commencement date, because we have to kind of work through when that's going to be and how that's going to happen. But all the other dates are up, so you can take a look at them on the calendar.
Right.
Thank you. Another question that I know we're gonna kind of keep going down this path, but I wanna make sure I read it for the student. I'm scheduled to move in on the 8th because I'm in a quarantine state or a hot state here. If I don't receive my first year schedule until the 17th, how will I know if I want to stay at home or not before moving in?
Again, if you're a freshman and you have a good idea of what your schedule is going to be. When you look at the modalities of the courses, you'll see whether the course that you're likely going to be taking is online or whether it's going to be a face-to-face course. If you choose to go fully online, what that would probably mean is that you would not take the labs for chemistry and biology this year. You'd have to wait till next year to take those labs. We don't recommend it, but it is, students can do that. And that would be the situation that you would face. For your other courses, and so what can you do in order to make up those credits, adding those credits to your program? You could take a general education course that's also required. Many of those are going to be online. And so you could work to fill out your schedule. And so this is we're trying to make this as clear as we can, but again, it takes a while for Beth and the people in the registrar's office to get everybody registered and so that they can see their programs of study.
A question that has come up a couple times is, can students go home on the weekends?
Yes. We expect students to be careful about this. I mean, we're talking about community health and welfare. And so we would expect that if you go home for the weekend or go someplace for the weekend, that you're not going to bars, you're not going to situations in which you would be putting yourself at risk. But it's your weekend.
Thank you. And can you talk, I know next week on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live, we'll talk more specifically about housing and meal plans. So I do want to make sure folks know that. But a little bit about the quarantine plan that ESF is working on. Can we share that just so people can't tune in next week?
You want to talk about that, Anne? You're muted.
Laura, will you repeat the question?
Can you talk a little bit about ESF's quarantine location and what that's looking like?
Yes. So we have made the decision to use space at Onondaga Community College for those students, those residential students who need to be isolated or quarantined. So students who are coming from hotspot states will most likely be moving directly into that facility for the 2 weeks that they need to quarantine when they come into the state, and then moving into Centennial Hall after that. Students will have food delivered to them, and Onondaga Community College can accommodate dietary restrictions, and students who need to quarantine or isolate will be assigned to a case manager from within the Division of Student Affairs to make sure that we can check in with them and see how they're doing. But we're going to be using that space. That building is going to also be used by Onondaga Community College for their students who need to be isolated and quarantined, and nobody else will be staying in that building except those students. Students who are isolating and quarantining will be on separate floors.
You might want to explain the difference between isolation and quarantine.
Sure, thank you. When we talk about the need to isolate, that's when you have potentially been exposed. You know someone who's been exposed, or you might have been in a situation where you're exposed and you're waiting for the test results. When you're quarantining, it's a confirmed positive test. So you're diagnosed as being positive and needing to be quarantined in a different way.
Okay. And again, we'll talk more about housing and meal plans, and we could go into specifics about that. Today's session is about academics. And so I do, however, see a question about just general ESF. Will we provide PPE for students, or will they have to purchase them?
So we expect students will be coming to campus with masks. Masks are going to be required in all classes and moving around campus, basically, for both students, faculty, and staff will be wearing masks at all time, other than when people are in their offices. For some of our classes, particularly the chemistry class, where there's concern about if you wear a mask that it can fog up your goggles, and mixing chemicals, you have to do that. For those students, we will be providing face shields to provide protection from that. That's the primary PPEs that we're talking about is face masks. We will have face masks. We'll be using surgical face masks when students are in buses or in vehicles, not cloth masks for that. And we will be providing that. And we will have lots and lots of masks available on campus. But again, the expectation is that students will be bringing their own masks because frankly, everybody is using masks now. And so you should have masks.
And also students who are moving into Centennial Hall will be provided with some masks.
Right.
Okay, I see an advising question, so I'm going to go to that one. And we have about 10 minutes left, so I do want to give the panelists about 5 minutes to wrap up and give some parting advice as well. Will students have individual advising appointments to review schedule and credits they are coming in with?
Yes, they will. And you probably know this better than anybody, that students, when they arrive on campus, we're doing something different here, because we would meet face-to-face with your advisors. Now, generally advisors will be setting up times to meet with students, and because the meetings will have to be virtual. But my presumption will be that your advisor will be getting in contact with you to help set up those appointments.
Great, thank you. A question about family weekend or parents weekend. We are going to keep looking at that, but we will likely cancel that or postpone it and look to doing more virtual engagement opportunities for families. I think it's just a little bit too soon to bring people back, and given what's going on with all the hotspot states, we just don't feel like it's a good idea to bring or limit people coming. So that's our stance right now. I don't know if anyone has more to add about family weekend.
I would say, the plan is that really we're not going to be having many outside visitors on campus, period. Because again, we're trying to protect people. There will be we just got the news today that all college sports will be held without anyone in attendance. So if there's an SU football game or basketball game, there will not be people coming on campus for that. So it is very unlikely that we will do any type of family weekend. At the same time, like we said, if students want to go home for a weekend and they can do that, they're able to do that. We want people to be careful, but we're not trying to break up families. That's not our intention here.
Okay, thank you. There was a question about any news on fall sports, so it sounds like no attendance or no spectators, but do we have more on ESF specific sports?
You know, we're continuing those discussions with the institutions that we regularly compete with. We're hoping that we can have some level of athletics this fall. Some sports are a little bit easier to social distance, like golf might be one that could lend itself. But we also need to have other campuses to compete with, and campuses are still making decisions. So nothing definitive, but when we know for sure, we will certainly communicate that out.
All right, thank you. Can you comment on the gym? Perhaps, I know Centennial Hall has a gym, but then also the Barn Center at SU.
So let me start with Centennial Hall. The fitness center in Centennial Hall is going to be closed because of the difficulty in keeping it clean and keeping it safe. The current plan at Syracuse University, because as most of you probably know by now, our students have access to most of the programs and resources available to Syracuse University students. And in talking with my colleagues there last week, I've come to understand that they are planning for individual intramural sports and club sports, so something like tennis, but that there won't be team intramural sports or club sports, with the exception of baseball and softball. They do plan right now to have the equipment still available and open in the Barn Center. My understanding is that they're going to take out some of the equipment to more socially distance the equipment from other pieces of equipment, and the pool is slated to be open too.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Seeing just some more Centennial questions that I do see Kim doing great with answering those. There is a question about a senior, so I don't want to ignore them. They only have a lab class to graduate. Can I potentially, or can a senior take that lab online?
If the course is being planned to be given online, you can. You should contact the instructor or look on the list whether that course is going to be online. Like I said, most of our lab courses, the plan was to have those face-to-face. We feel that's an important part of our program. It's what makes our residential program different, and the faculty want to do those courses face-to-face, but you'll have to find out. It depends on the course.
Okay, thanks. And then I see a question on are libraries open? Can you comment on libraries and both ESF and SU, and maybe just touch on any changes for campus like Marshall Hall, just so people are aware of that too.
Yeah, no, yes, the library will be open. It's going to be reduced by about 50% in its capacity. Normally we could hold about 250 students in the library. We'll be down to about 120 to 125 students. As you may have heard, Marshall Hall we're quite excited about the fact that the state has approved the refurbishment of Marshall Hall. What that has meant is that the building will be closed and construction will be taking place inside the building, not much on the outside of the building, but inside the building for the next 2 to 2.5 years. The impact of that on programs is that landscape architecture, students in that program, their courses will be taught in 224 Harrison Street. We're still trying to figure out a new name for that location. But it's in a historic building downtown, and it should be really pretty exciting. We will have shuttle service going down there. It's about about a mile walk from the campus. And environmental studies, which is will be moving, the faculty office will be moving to Baker, but courses will be taken wherever they teach their courses. A lot of the general education instructors will be moving into the basement of Moon. That's still partially under construction and will be under construction for much of the fall, but that's where they will be located.
Great, thank you. So we do have just about 3 minutes left. If I can just ask all the panelists to just give one quick tip or advice for this fall semester. I know that's a loaded question, but just something that you would advise our new students and their families in particular, or advice maybe just to the families on how to support their student during these, you know, very unprecedented times, to say the least.
Who wants to go first?
You can go first, David.
Well, thank you. I guess, I mean, this is a challenging time. We're all learning a lot. Frankly, what happened in the spring has helped prepare us very well for what's going to happen this fall. Our faculty have gained a lot of new appreciation of technology, and we think that we'll be able to provide a very high quality learning environment for our students. The support that students are going to need is to be thinking real hard about not just their own personal safety, but group safety as well. And we'll be talking a lot about that with our students about expected behavior and how to take care of each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I guess what I would add to that is just a reminder that and an appreciation for all of you as you've weathered this frustration and this challenge. Know that we are in this with you and that we've been challenged by this as well. But I do believe, like Provost Newman said, that we can offer our students a really solid fall semester, and know that we all and the people in the offices behind us are here to support your students as best we can.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, please don't be afraid to ask for help, because even if, you know, we're not necessarily going to be right in front of you as much as we would be in the past, we're definitely going to be there to help you through orientation, and after that through the entire semester. And whatever you need, there's always people that you can reach out to help, whether it's my office for the, you know, help with you're having trouble with MySlice, or, you know, Laura's office because, you know, you have questions about some student activities or counseling services, whatever it might be. We're all still going to be here to help and support you and get you through this. So just make sure that if you're struggling, just ask for help.
We were so disappointed that so many of you weren't able to come to campus for our accepted student receptions. We only were able to offer 2 of those this spring, but a highlight of those programs is our student panel. A number of our current students are seated in a panel, and they take any and every question any student or parent would like to have answered. The most often asked question is, what was the biggest challenge about coming to ESF? And to a person, it is usually, I didn't expect it to be so academically rigorous. That was the biggest challenge. But then their answer, and this is particularly true of the seniors, the community of ESF, the faculty, their fellow students, all the academic and personal support services got them over that within a semester, and they blossomed and grew and were very successful. So just that first semester, particularly for this year, is going to be a challenge. Don't let it get you down. As Beth said, as we've all said, there are so many people here that are waiting to help you. Just ask.
Thank you all so much for your advice and for being on the panel today. If you have any questions, as I think that's pretty much everyone's comment, is just reach out. We're all here to help you. That's what we do. We love helping students and we love answering questions. So please do reach out. We're all available by email, by phone. So just find us and we'll absolutely help you. Again, next week's session is on housing and meal plans. Again, we'll have someone from SU as well as our Trailhead Cafe Our student session for new students, again, returning students are on Wednesdays. Tomorrow's session is for graduate students because we obviously know graduate students have some unique and different challenges and our TAs and RAs and all of that. So tomorrow's session for returning students is again for graduate students. Thursday, this week, Thursday on Instagram Live is about housing and meal plans for new students. So again, sorry for the different platforms. We're just trying to be as accessible as we can. So if you have questions between now and whenever, please shoot us an email, call us, and we'll happily answer as best we can. And thank you for all of your patience and grace as we all navigate these unprecedented times. Thank you again and have a good night.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.